Tonight, the rush to save a life coming to a screeching halt. First Alert 4 investigates an ambulance delay.
It's left a St. Louis man who was hit by a car waiting for help. Investigator Susan Corey uncovers how this may not have been the first time.
You know the sound. Signaling help is on the way.
It just wasn't right.
Instead, on September 27th, 2021, it was the sound of time ticking away.
He shouldn't have died that way.
Rodney LaRue, fresh off celebrating his 60th birthday.
He was extremely talented musician, and he would build his guitars, beautiful guitars.
But to his sister Sharon,
We're a very close family.
he'll always be the family baby.
Rod was the youngest of the six.
Those who know and love him call him Rod,
Didn't matter what it was, he could fix it.
a well-known face in the city of who to call when you need help.
He was a handyman.
Equally known for how he got around town.
He'd have his tools in the back and, his rake, driving his scooter.
On that September day, you can see LaRue driving his scooter in surveillance video. He's heading straight through a green light at this South City intersection when a minivan, who police say was supposed to yield, turned left.
He had maybe 2 or 3 seconds to react. He did the right thing. He turned the scooter down like this.
We're stopping the video before the moment of impact. You can see the driver run out and look around.
And he ended up going underneath her car.
As LaRue lay on the street, the wait for an ambulance starts.
Minutes definitely mattered.
First Alert 4 has been reporting on 911 call delays for years,
You have reached the 911 center for the city of St. Louis.
with emergency calls being put on hold.
Operators are busy at this time.
But that didn't happen here. A police officer in this white patrol truck was behind the minivan. He saw the crash and radioed for help. Within minutes, more officers and a fire truck arrive. The ambulance didn't show up until more than a half hour later.
I don't see any excuse for why it took so long. What could the excuse be?
Were you ever given an explanation of why?
No. We were shocked. We were totally shocked.
Turns out the medics
223.
stopped mid-call.
Magnolia and South Kings Highway are the destruction of property.
First Alert 4 investigates got police radio traffic, where you can hear officers being sent to the ambulance. The crew pulled over because someone threw a rock at it.
Relative to EMS, I just spoke with them, and they're still, anyway, you guys are like number 5 on the list.
NUA means no unit available. It's shorthand often used by city dispatchers when they have no open ambulances. The city won't say if there were no other units to send to LaRue, claiming more than 2 years later, it remains an ongoing investigation.
It's mind-boggling.
Matt Devote is the LaRue family's lawyer.
This is the report that gives
They recently sued the city and EMTs over the delayed response. So what damage did the rock do? Responding officers say it left a large dent in the passenger side of the cabin.
Why weren't they directed immediately to continue the response? Or, on the other side of that, why wasn't a second crew immediately dispatched?
Devote believes there's more to this that the city won't talk about.
One of the things that we believe is that the excuse is that at the time the comptroller had a policy that directed city employees to immediately report any property damage to their vehicles.
We've asked, but the city still hasn't told us what that policy says. It's one of multiple public records we keep trying to get. Instead, what we have is a paper trail showing most of our requests are still in progress. The fire department won't give us any records in this case, claiming they're protected by HIPAA.
Somebody needs to say what happened and fix it.
There's another piece. First Alert 4 investigates uncovering police records showing in the months leading up to this, there were at least 5 times when someone threw things at ambulances, all happening in the same area around Tower Grove South. Sources tell us they believe a man with a mental health condition would throw things when he heard sirens. Police say he was never caught. Still, it's clear the fire department knew the risk, We tried to talk to them about all of this. A spokesman said they can't comment because of the family's lawsuit.
If no one else deserves answers, at least the family deserves answers.
City Alderman Rasheen Aldridge is the vice chair of the Public Safety Committee.
We keep asking for these policies, but we aren't getting them. Other cities put them up online. Do you think people in St. Louis should have that same right too?
Absolutely. It's disturbing how hidden some policies are. Ultimately, I think all the books should be open.
It can't be overlooked how close everything was. The ambulance was hit 2 miles up the road from where LaRue lay waiting. From there, it's a 4-minute drive to the hospital, where LaRue was eventually taken.
The surgeons came in and took us into a small room and told us that he had died on the operating table and that he basically had bled to death.
LaRue died at the hospital 3 hours after the crash. The medical examiner's report notes the manner of death was a car accident. It doesn't mention waiting on an ambulance.
Should that ambulance delay be included in the medical examiner's report?
Well, the practice in this office is not to include narrative information in the body of the report.
Dr. Jane Turner is a forensic pathologist. She says the report details injuries common in pedestrian crashes.
There are injuries of the chest and abdomen that are lethal.
Is this something where if someone got immediate medical attention, it could change the outcome?
That's hard to say. They were severe injuries.
The report found LaRue's blood alcohol level was double the legal limit. Police say he had the right of way and was driving 26 miles an hour, 1 mile above the speed limit.
And we miss him so much.
Sharon LaRue wants answers.
You end up with a big hole in your heart.
Her brother Rodney, known for always lending a helping hand,
There should be more Rods in the world.
left waiting when he needed to be saved.
I would hope if different decisions were made that we would still have our brother.
As far as the 5 other times we found where ambulances were hit, we asked for public records on those, but still haven't gotten them. Those should shed some light to show if there were patients on board, how extensive the damage was, if the ambulance stopped, or if another one was dispatched. Alderman Aldridge tells us he's considering an ordinance to require city departments like police and fire to post their policies online. We'll be following to see what happens there. Susan Elcoury, First Alert 4 investigates.
Well, the driver of that minivan that collided with LaRue was charged with multiple counts, including involuntary manslaughter. A circuit court judge dismissed the charges. The case went all the way up to the Missouri Supreme Court. And just days ago, the judges issued a unanimous opinion saying the charges should not have been tossed and sent the case back to circuit court.